Camera 2 Joey here. I'm having to leave Tyler in the middle of filming because my visa's running out. Not this second, but very soon, and I have to go pack. So we're doing
shots of
Šljiva.
Because this is Croatia.
Živje.
Živje, thank you for everything.
Thank you, Chef Tyler.
Ooh.
Slavonian. It's good. It's sweet.
All right, that wasn't so bad.
How many more are you going to do today?
Of this?
Rock
We'll see. I don't know anymore. I was talking a big game and now that happened.
That's how it goes. All right.
Ooh. Hey everyone, welcome back to Chef Tyler's Croatian Kitchen. Today I have a meal for you that is very near and dear to my heart. It is my grandmother's Christmas Eve dinner. So for my family on Christmas Eve, we celebrate the Feast of the Seven Fishes. And I know that's usually something associated with Italian culture, but given the fact that coastal Croatia was ruled by Italy during various parts of its history, fun fact, my grandfather was actually born in Italy, technically. This dish is perfect for seven fishes as it utilizes 3 fishes all in one, which just saves you on how many meals you have to make later on. So what we're going to do is we're making pasta with a red sauce and served with our fish. Our fish we have are clams, mussels, and shrimp. The clams, mussels, and shrimp you can buy either fresh or frozen. Everything is usually better fresh, but unfortunately I can only get frozen. When you have frozen shellfish, they will tend to open up once they're thawed out. That is completely normal. If you have some shellfish, though, that are cracked, you do want to discard those, as those are not good. This one's all cracked. Right. This is a little different than having fresh shellfish. So if the fresh shellfish are open or they refuse to close, then they're bad. So we have our fish, and then we have our sauce for the pasta. So the pasta we have is linguini, and we're going to be making a marinara sauce. Grandma usually makes a marinara sauce ahead of time because she's making the entirety of Christmas Eve dinner, so it's just one of the ways that she's found that helps her on the day of. However, I'm not in any rush today, so we're just going to go ahead and make the sauce after we cook all of our shellfish. So for the sauce, we have 2 onions that I've chopped up, 4 cloves of garlic that I've minced, and some parsley leaves that I've just roughly chopped and we'll add in at the end. Of course, we have our tomato sauce and then a little bit of white wine. White wine doesn't always have to go into the marinara sauce. It's mainly here to help steam the shellfish. But we can use it everywhere, and we can even drink it. That's the fun about cooking with wine, is that you can always drink it while you're cooking. And on that note, we might as well just have some to start, because as Julia Child says, cooking with wine is great, and sometimes she even puts it in the food. This I got at the market. That's why it's in this big plastic bottle, which was the same plastic bottle actually we used in the wine from the Kuhano Vino episode. It's called Reuse. Cheers. All right, now that we have that out of the way, let's head on over to the stove and we'll get to cooking. All right, we're over here at the stove and I've set up my station. So we have what we're going to be cooking in the pot, and then we have our side plate for when everything is done. We can move it to this bowl. And we have the lid so that we can actually steam our mussels and our clams. So I've gone ahead and put some butter into the pot, and we're just going to wait for it to melt before we add in our shrimp. So we're starting with the shrimp, then we'll do the mussels, and then we'll do the clams. The reason this is that way everything has enough space to really open up and cook thoroughly, and you're not overcrowding the pot. Especially because these were frozen, they do need an extra few minutes to cook through. That being said, it is of course okay to cook things that are still a little bit frozen. Just understand that you need to add some time onto it. Cooking times are generally given for room temperature meats. So our butter seems like it's gone up to temp, so we'll go ahead and add our shrimp directly into the pot. So we'll just move everything around, make sure it has contact with the bottom of the pot, and we'll cook until they're cooked through. So if your shrimp are gray before you cook them, they will turn pink when they are cooked, and that's how you know that they are done. If your shrimp, like mine, are pink while they are raw, you can also tell that they're cooked when they start to get a little char in them, or they start to curl up. The shrimp will contract into that nice curled shape that we all know and love, and that's how you can tell that they are done cooking. While everything is cooking too, make sure you're regulating your heat. You don't want everything too hot, and because you don't want the butter to burn. In the case that your butter does burn, finish cooking whatever step you're on, remove the butter and add fresh butter to continue. And once your shrimp have fully cooked, we'll remove them to our side plate. Once our shrimp are done cooking, it's time to move on to the clams. We're going to take our bottle of wine, a nice, really big bottle of wine, and just add a splash into the pot. This will create some nice steam for our clams. As you can see, it's already coming up. Just place these down and take all of our clams and add them into our pot. And once they're in, we'll just take our lid and leave them on top to let them steam. Our clams here should cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. We don't want to add too much water, or in our case, too much wine, because one, our those clams were frozen, so they already have some ice that will turn into water as they steam. But two, clams also naturally have some liquid in them, which will help aiding in the steaming of these clams. So don't pick the lid up while it's cooking, leave it nicely and firmly shut, 5 to 7 minutes. When you see that most of the clam shells have opened, it's time to remove your clams from the pot. Let's just turn the heat down for a bit so the butter doesn't burn as we remove our clams. And now it's time to do the mussels. The exact same way as the clams, we'll just add them directly into our pot. Stir around just a little bit, creating a nice even layer. And we'll add our lid back into the pot and let them steam for 5 to 7 minutes. After a few minutes and all of your mussels have opened up, it's time to take them out. I'm going to use the same bowl as the shrimp because I don't want to clean up so much, but it's okay too because everything is going to go back in together with the tomato sauce at the end. And then just turn the heat down again so nothing starts to burn. Just take out all of our mussels. See, after you've removed the mussels, you'll see there's even more water now in the pot. And all this water is full of the flavor of the mussels, of the clams, and of the shrimp. And that's really what's going to give us flavor into our sauce. So that means it's time to make our sauce. I'm going to keep everything in the pot. The beauty of this meal is it's really just a one-pot meal. And we're going to add in our onions. Stir onions around so everything gets covered. And we turn the heat up too. But we're not trying to brown the onions, we just want to really sweat them out. And the advantage of having all the water in here is that the onions really will sweat instead of browning. So you want to cook your onions until they are translucent, then we'll go ahead and add in our garlic. So once our onions have become translucent, it's time to go ahead and add in our garlic. And so you want to let our garlic cook for about a minute until it gets fragrant. And also about this time, most of the liquid should have boiled off, so the garlic can really get in contact with the pan and really start to release its oils and give off its flavor. So once the garlic has become fragrant, if there's anything starting to burn onto the sides, we can always quickly deglaze with a little bit of white wine. We'll just add that right on in. And immediately go and start trying to scrape off anything that might be stuck on. You see these brown parts all on the side. Now, of course, if nothing has burned onto the sides, you don't need to deglaze. We can just move on to the next step. But if you did deglaze, wait until the wine has reduced almost to nothing, and then we will add in our tomato sauce. This is 680 grams, and I will tell you down here the conversion into imperial, but we'll just pop the top and go all in. Just put the entirety of the bottle in. The little hack I like to do is that there's so much stuff just left all along the bottle. We're going to go to the sink and put water up until the top. That will make sure all of this tomato sauce that we left in the jar also gets into our sauce. Of course, the addition of water means our sauce is thinning out a little bit more than it otherwise would, and we're going to have to boil that off to bring it down to the right consistency. However, the longer cook time is what allows all the flavors to really meld together. So we're just going to let this come up to a boil and then turn the heat down to a simmer. And of course, do not forget to season and add in the parsley. Once it comes to a simmer, we'll let it sit for about 20 minutes or until it gets your desired consistency. So while our sauce here is simmering, now is the perfect time to go ahead and put a pot of water on to boil so we can start to cook our pasta. So when your pasta is only a few minutes away from being finished, we'll go ahead and re-add all of our shellfish back into our pot. And we'll turn the heat back up, bring it back up to a simmer. Once the pasta is done cooking, we'll go ahead and drain it and put it back into the pot, toss a little bit of olive oil to prevent it from sticking to itself. We're going to serve the pasta and our sauce separately, and that way you can better control the pasta to sauce ratio. So once everything is done, I'll meet you back at the counter when we'll plate. And now everything is ready, it's time to serve. First, we'll start off by putting our pasta onto our plate. We'll just throw it all in there. It's okay, Joey doesn't need to eat anything. And now, of course, our 3 fishes. It smells amazing. Got our ladle, and we'll go in and grab as much out as we can. Try to get a little bit of everything. Got all of our clams and all of our shrimp. Of course, the mussels and the sauce. The sauce is really going to be the most important part. And here we go. And of course, I say it's the greatest dinner of all time because it's one of those dinners I only really ever have on Christmas Eve. There's one time Nana made it not on Christmas Eve. It was something in like October. It was October, right before I moved to Croatia. Nana made it, and while of course it was good, it didn't feel right. This is Christmas Eve dinner, and you can, in my opinion, only have it on Christmas Eve. We're ignoring the fact that it's not Christmas Eve. So now we have everything on our plate. Let's give it our taste for Greg. Let's get a good amount of pasta there with some sauce as it flies around everywhere. Adding the parsley into the sauce as it's cooking changes it so much. You really get that flavor of the parsley in there, and it cuts through everything. It's so good. But of course, that's not the only thing here on our plate. We got our mussels, right open, and now the clams. I was a little worried about the clams because they're really small, but still full of flavor. Amazing. I'm just using my hands. I don't care. We got shrimp too. This is fucking Christmas Eve. I don't care about the thumbnail anymore. I'm just gonna. It's so good. It's just like Grandma makes, and luckily now this year when I go back for Christmas, I'll be able to make it with her, and maybe it'll become my Christmas Eve dinner one day in the future. Who knows? I have the wine, of course, but we already know this is good. I've been drinking this whole time. Anyways, here we have Grandma's Christmas Eve dinner. Dobar tek. Like taking it from there?
No.